All right, so in downtown LA, there is a music lounge called Clifton's. Passing down murky graffiti streets and a couple of homeless people eating chicken wings, you arrive at a building with a black facade and a neon sign. Nothing special on the outside, inside is another story. You walk in, there's a waterfall to your left, a taxidermy brown bear, and tree branches with lights above. At the dance floor, there is a replica of a redwood tree going up 3 floors. There is a disco ball hanging from one of the branches, spinning and illuminating the walls that are covered in forest. The DJ is playing a remix of Fleetwood Mac's Everywhere. At the bar, I order a drink and make eye contact with another taxidermy animal, a deer pretending to graze on some fake grass. I take my drink and I start to groove. The last outing I had with my mother was in August of 2014. We went to the Hollywood Bowl to see John Williams in concert. Listening to the scores of Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, I noticed that she looks uncomfortable. She doesn't say much on the way home, holding her left arm with the right hand. And 2 weeks later, she has difficulty getting out of bed. I take her to the doctor, and he orders a stat MRI. He says that we're gonna get a call with the results. By this time, it's late in the day, and we're outside In-N-Out eating fries together when she gets the call. The doctor tells her to immediately go to the emergency room. My 2 brothers are there already waiting for us, and they accompany enter the triage area while I wait in the waiting room. After about an hour, I'm let in, and I have no idea what's going on. Mom looks stern, and my 2 brothers look as if they just finished crying. The nurse says that Mom is going to get transferred to the ICU and to wait while she gets settled. Good job, I tell my brother. I made sure that Mom wasn't afraid during this whole time, and now she looks upset. My brother then tells me that the MRI showed a tumor on her neck. Okay, so who cares? They can just take it out, I blurt. No, it's enveloped in such a way that it's attached to her spinal cord. There's no way to take it out completely. It's already at stage 4. And my mind goes completely blank. I can't even think about what he's saying. And I get up and I go to the elevators. What is happening? This isn't happening, but this is real. And I start to cry. And I go back to the ICU. I hug my mother. She says, I love you. And we cry together. The neurosurgeon says that the tumor is causing her to have lower body paralysis. He's gonna try to remove as much of the tumor as he can. And the surgery is scheduled for 2 days later, lasting about 8 hours. I'm in the waiting area again when I hear the elevator doors open and I hear a woman wailing, screaming, and then I realize that's my mother. The nurse says that they gave her ketamine, an anesthetic which can cause some hallucinogenic effects. And then Mom starts loudly singing Over the Rainbow and says, I sing terrible. So this is what it looks like when she's high, because I never saw her drunk or do drugs. And then she starts yelling out names. Her father, her mother, her best friend, my brothers, mine. Okay, we see a theme here, important people. And then she yells out, Jorge. Wait, who's Jorge? And how did Jorge make it onto this list? After finally tiring herself out, she falls asleep. And the next day I ask her if she remembers what happened. No, what happened, she says. You were yelling and screaming. You also sang Over the Rainbow. I don't even know the words to that song, she says. Oh, yes, you do. You were also yelling out names. She says that the anesthesiologist told her that instead of saying numbers backwards, to say the names of loved ones, that way it would be easier for her to let go. You said Jorge, I tell her. Her eyes open wide, and after a very long pause, she says, you should have just put a pillow over my face. I later find out, and not through my mother, that she dated a guy named Jorge for years. She broke up with him before finishing her 2 years at university, not wanting the attachment. She later met my father, dated him for only 6 months, got married with him, and then divorced him when I was 5. And it was so irrational to me that she did this because she was always so methodical about everything. And in perfect Mexican tradition, she never talked about it and pretended it never happened. After the surgery, the doctor says that her life expectancy is about 5 years. But the tumor was so aggressive that it came back in 1 month. She started radiation, then chemotherapy. She was bedridden and only had a couple of months left. One day, her best friend Angelica comes to visit. Angelica asks Mom what she thinks if Jorge stopped by to see her. Jorge, now finding out, just so happened to be Angelica's cousin. Mom immediately says, no, he can't see me like this. Angelica says, why not? It would be so good for both of you to see each other again. Again, it's a resounding no. After arguing for a bit, Angelica says, well, he's here outside the door. Mom can't believe her that she would pull something like that. And Angelica says, I'm going to tell him to come in. Then in walks this tall, older man, and he sees my mother, and they embrace. They speak to each other as if time and space never happened between them. Here was a person who knew a softer version of my mother, and not this overbearing person that I had to grow up with who would yell at me for wearing eyeliner, white shorts, and getting a C in chemistry. Ultimately, I was so done with her perfectionism that I left to go live with my grandparents in Mexico when I was 20, which infuriated her. She and Jorge speak for about an hour, and he wishes her well. She was so stubborn that it took her being on death's door and 30 years to amend things with her ex-boyfriend. And the visit puts her in good spirits. Because she was bedridden, we would listen to songs of her choice. Songs that she remembers listening to at a teaching internship in Visalia, or songs that her father used to play on the guitar. Linda Ronstadt played one of her songs. She was one of my favorite singers. I have no idea who she's talking about. I've never even heard of her. I play the requested song, and it sounds melancholy. After Mom passed away, I started listening to Linda a lot more. I could see why she was fascinated by her voice, strong, unwavering, changing with the tides of time, an echo of who my mother was. I'll usually play a couple of Linda's songs when I visit her at the cemetery. And my favorite song is called Willing, where she's singing about the towns she's visited, places she's gone. And if you give me weed, whites, and wine, and you show me the sun, and I'll be willing to be moving. I'm not a stranger to grief anymore. Its visits come in waves. Some days you're on still water, feeling good. And the next day is Mother's Day and you feel like you're gonna drown. Listening to women on this particular day at the cemetery, it's as if Mom is speaking to me, and I close my eyes. She says, you have to be willing to change, to accept what you can't change, and to be willing to move forward. It's not that my love for you is going to change. It's just that you have to make room for more. It has been 10 years this June that my mother passed away. 10 years of learning to live in her absence. I read somewhere that music is what feelings sound like, and I hear a song and it takes me to her. In Nashville, a choir of high school kids sing Light of a Clear Blue Morning by Dolly Parton. In Mexico City, the taxi driver is playing a Juan Gabriel song she used to sing. And in Paris, I visit Frédéric Chopin's grave, and nearby there is a headstone with the name Esther on it, her name. In Rome, there is a group of priests singing in Latin, reminding me of the time she would take me to church. And at the Art Institute of Chicago, I'm humming Please, 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 Let Me Get What I Want by the Smiths, a song played in the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which we always used to watch together. She was someone that loved, took risks, stood her ground, and was faithful to herself. In the end, the only regret she said she had was not being able to spend more time with us. As the years pass, I see my mother not just as my mother, but as a woman with hopes, feelings, and fears. She goes with me everywhere.